last but not least, last speaker of the day, who maybe doesn't need to even do a talk because apparently it's already happened. Well, Steffen just, is it Steffen or how do you say it?
That's pretty good, Pep.
All right. Pep, well, hey. Steffen, you posted on LinkedIn that somebody already cold DM'd him, thanking him for his talk at the Winter Games.
Yeah, I'm completely relaxed now, Pep. I know this is gonna go really great. So thank you to Jeff who started outbounding me a little bit too early.
Well, yeah, it's about execution. We should learn from that guy. Yeah. All right. So Dreamdata. So you guys have access to some dreamy data. That's right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so, what is the data showing about the overall pipeline trends in 2024? Are we over a SaaS recession if there ever was one?
I haven't actually been studying that number right now. I can say some of the. I can also drop a little thing, but there's going to be released a benchmark feature quite soon. So everybody who's interested in B2B benchmarks can benchmark their own data against other B2B companies. So a little plug for that. But some of the benchmarks we've been releasing in the past has really been to shed some light on how long B2B journeys really are. I think one of the most tangible, significant things is that when salespeople typically tells you the customer journey is 3 months or whatever they say, that's really just from whenever that hit their pipeline. What we can see across all our customers is that the real journey tends to be like 1.5x of whatever the sales team's work is. So we're talking, I think the average was 192 days or something like that. And that number really tells how complex B2B can be and why you really need to do a lot of stuff and bet on stuff early because they need time to prosper.
So by the time a sales will find out about a prospect, they have already asked about you on a Slack group and read about your thing and all that research.
We pull a lot of first-party data from LinkedIn and G2 and stuff like that, and you can see those G2 touches starting on the category months before they show up at websites. So yeah, you really need to start thinking about where do people do their research rather than let's talk to them when they're on the website.
Totally, yeah. Like a survey of we surveyed CMOs of B2B SaaS companies asking where do you start your vendor research? Then about half the people are like, well, I already know the vendors I'm going to look into.
Yeah.
And the other half was like, I'm going to Google it, let's say whatever the category is, or I'm going to go into like G2 and see who the top players are. Yeah.
I think it's the same for me when I'm, if I want to conduct user research, everybody is screaming winter at me. So I don't have a choice either.
You should listen to the crowds, the wisdom of the crowds. All right, let's listen to your 3 things, and then we'll chat again after.
Let's do that, Pep. Okay, guys, I have 3 things for you to round this day off. 3 of the things that we will spend a lot of time on in the Dreamdata go-to-market team. 1, we're continuing to do a lot of investment in doing LinkedIn Live sessions. What we do here is a weekly event where we invite either a prospect, an ICP of sorts, to join us for a live conversation about something that they're an expert in, or we pull in creators and influencers that has really interesting stories to tell. So we have a weekly motion going where these live events are running. We just take some notes. So the reason why that can be really interesting for you is that you either get to do a very soft and easy touch on behalf of your sales team on some accounts that you really want to be speaking to. Or, as I said, you can plug into large influencer networks where we have had guests like April Dunford or Bill Mercedes, who were the CMO at Slack, or April Dunford joining our podcast. And the LinkedIn Live sessions is then kind of the engine of our content production as well, because we can produce videos out of the conversations. We produce blog posts out of the best conversations. We ship those blog posts on email. Our sales team can go in on these events that we've created on LinkedIn and invite other of their prospects with a nice soft touch with something valuable. So this is a super low cost thing that we will continue to do. I think the only thing that we've decided that we'll do different is that we are going to be even more ambitious about who are we inviting to join us for these conversations. Then how are we measuring this? Well, Dreamdata is actually an official marketing partner of LinkedIn. So we have a special, unique API that allows us to pull community data out of the LinkedIn platform. So whoever signs up to the LinkedIn events that we run every week, we typically see around 100 to 200 participants. We extract that data about who they are and which company they're from and put into the customer journey in the Dreamdata account. So little by little, we start seeing that these very soft touches can be very good at continuing to progressing deals. So that's bet one. Then bet two is actually something very little hacking or trick or like growth hacking, marketing, whatever you want to call it. We're actually right now going through a use case alignment process at Dreamdata. And what's that? Well, to me, at least the way I can explain it to people is that use cases are really the menu of what is it that Dreamdata is solving as a problem, as a service for our customers. So we have now defined 15 use cases that people are carrying out today in their current job, that they come to us at Dreamdata to have solved in a more efficient way. And these use cases are agreed upon from the product team to the marketing team, to the sales team, to the CS team. So the ones that we are trying to attract in marketing is only within the scope of those 15 use cases. Sales are only selling these things, so they agree with the prospects that this is what they're buying. The CS team will become better and better at just onboarding to these particular use cases. And lastly, obviously, the product will only develop features where they have actually this use case of the user in mind. So it's basically a complete alignment about the work that everybody is doing towards the same purpose, and that is solving those 15 use cases really, really well. The way we will measure it is, I would say, two things. One is the pipeline velocity and win rate. People have gotten the right message up front, and the salespeople are able to deliver a really great demo and discovery call, etc., on these use cases. And then two, because this customer success team gets so used to delivering the same kind of use cases, hopefully also it will reduce churn and help them upsell even more. Cool. And then last component that we are going to be betting big on is really this old school discipline of doing really, really good marketing to create moments that become stories. And what do I mean by that? I think what we're seeing right now is a consolidation of ad platforms. Every marketer in the world is heading towards the same digital ad platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google. And what happens when everybody do this? Well, the prices go up. Go-to-market becomes more and more inexpensive. So what we have kind of promised ourselves is that we're going to try to stand out more and more with the marketing that we do. So we can't release generic stuff. We need to be thinking different than other people. We need to stop the thumbs while people are scrolling. And examples of this is that, like last week, we released a review video where our employees read out negative comments from reviews in a really funny fashion, like the Jimmy Kimmel of celebrities reading mean tweets about themselves. A little while back, we were in New York, Laura, a colleague of mine, and we bought a billboard on Times Square. It cost us $500, but we managed to create a video that got so much attention at the conference we were at that the main speaker, Rand Fishkin, ended up saying, "Look at how creative these people are," in front of the whole audience as the main speaker at a conference. And it's this thing about just not releasing any generic stuff. You need to think extra because there's so many competition on these digital platforms. And the one with the most money, they will buy the ad space in front of you. And then you won't have a chance to compete unless your creatives are really becoming moments that people tell stories about. So that's it from me. I hope you can use these advices, and do tell me if there's any questions that I can answer.
Yeah, I did definitely see this employees read the negative comments. I think you could have chosen more negative comments. Some of it was like, "I'm too hardworking," in a job interview. But absolutely, I thought Jimmy Kimmel and I think the concept is brilliant.
I think that we did have a really good time doing it as well, and it's good to do parts that you find fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like your people were having fun, and you could tell. Yeah, it was great, and I loved how you phrased it. Create moments that become stories. Yeah, I love that. Well, what's another example of that?
Well, we biked around Copenhagen in these cargo bikes with small gifts for all the prospects that we were going for. And so that was like two of my colleagues that rented a cargo bike, filled it with a lot of small gifts for the customers that they wanted, and just took a cargo bike all around the town, delivering at the doorstep of people. And then obviously that's a good chance of creating content while you do it. But it's these I think Andrew Davis of Paddle calls them WTF moments, where like people do something completely extraordinary that you did not expect. Another tangible example that I keep referring back to is Slack that used to, I'm not sure they do it anymore, but they used to refund users money if they didn't use the product. Like you'd get like $1 back because you'd been on vacation, didn't use your seat on Slack. And it's these those unusual moments where you think like, why is this like this? I have not seen anybody doing that before. So I'm really going to strive for us to keep pushing out these moments that become stories people tell.
Yeah, I remember Patrick Campbell telling me that every year he had like 10% of his budgets on this WTF moments. So like he kept saying churn million.
Yeah, I saw that talk at that conference as well.
Oh yeah, that conference talk. Well, everybody in the B2B space was talking about that. Yeah, we need more of that for sure. More of that. Okay, so yeah, everybody is advertising on LinkedIn and Google and all these things. So, what are the unsaturated channels available?
It's a good question, Pep. And to be honest, I will not pretend to know this. There's an example of there's a software business called Cledara in the UK that just recently started to sponsor a stadium in the second tier of English football. And that is an example of a market that is not working efficiently because people don't publicly say what's the stadium sponsorship gonna cost. And I was interviewing Brad on a live session, their COO, I believe. And because football has so much attention, there's like 3 or 4 journalists covering like a second or third tier team. And they have to write stories because the fans want to read these stories. And they've found it's called KF Football Club, Cambridge United or something like that. But so I think it is kind of force yourself to do things outside of these like tradition, like by these times traditional channels, and see where is a lot of eyes looking and which of those eyes could be relevant for you and underpriced compared to the attention that it gets.
Totally, yeah. We've done our share of like, for instance, newsletter advertising.
Yeah,
and newsletter. Yeah, I mean, but it's wild west. Meaning that our experience is that, I mean, 100%. The cost per subscriber is like, can be wildly different. There's no standard. Anybody can charge whatever they want to charge, right?
Yeah.
And many people don't know how much to charge. And they're like, what's the max I can get away with? $10,000. And the results of newsletter advertising, sometimes it's like amazing. Like we advertise in Harry Dry's newsletter, the marketing examples.
Yeah.
Fucking phenomenal. And then other newsletters of similar size, like 0, like nobody gave a shit.
Yeah,
so
I think the market for newsletters is super inefficient as well. There's no transparency into what's good or bad. So we've had the same experiences. Some was great, some was cheap and great, and others way too expensive compared to what it was.
Yeah. And same, I feel, is like with podcast advertising, which is not even direct response, and then Did anybody even, we don't even know how many episodes were listened to. Tracking ads.
That I haven't dared yet. That the math there is too hard to to return.
And it's funny how the podcast creators still want to charge you $10,000 for for what? All right. Well, we're at time. So thank you very much for coming on and sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you for the invite, Pep.
Yeah, and everybody follow Steffen on LinkedIn for more LinkedIn lives and then the data drops and benchmarks.
Thank you, Pep.
And I'll see you there myself. Peace out.